Hello everyone, this is Ryan from the ProfitTrailer team, also known as RF Radio on the Discord support server as well as elsewhere on the internet. In this video I am going to be covering the introduction to the dollar cost averaging functions of ProfitTrailer, also known as DCA. For those who are unfamiliar with what dollar cost averaging is, I highly encourage you to go on over to the wiki. You can click it down here at the bottom of your monitoring page, or you can just go into your web browser and type in wiki.profittrailer.com. It doesn't bring you straight to this page, but when it does bring you to the start page of the wiki, you can just go down this left-hand column here, find the setup files area, and click on DCA.properties. That will bring you to this page here. Now, as a quick overview of what we see here, for those who don't know what dollar cost averaging is, it is a method for lowering the average price of a losing trade, and essentially will make it easier for you to come back up into profit. Now, what that really means is that when you enter into a trade, or you have purchased a particular coin pair and you're holding it and it starts to descend in value, you can actually rebuy it as it moves down in price using the dollar cost averaging function. And as it rebuys, it will actually lower your average price that you paid for it, and thereby allowing the bot to sell it back into profits at an earlier point as it comes back up in value. Essentially, you are going to be increasing your exposure to the market, but lowering your risk by doing this. For a long, detailed explanation, it says here, click this link. That'll take you over to forexop.com, and it goes over the martingale trading system. I did cover that in a prior video for the DCA functions in version 1. Now, you will be increasing your holdings with DCA, which might not sound like a good idea to some people, but it does result in the proportionate larger amount of profit when it does come back up into your profit margin that you specify for your DCA sales. So if you don't know how exactly to set up your DCA file for the initialization or the DCA config in your GUI, I highly encourage reading this entire page on all the settings. Make sure you fully understand each one of them before you start using DCA. It will make life a lot easier for you. Let's go on over to the monitoring page here, and I'll show you how to interpret your DCA log. From the monitoring screen here, which is what comes up when you launch ProfitTrailer, the upper menu, you see this thing says DCA. If you click on that, it'll take you over to your DCA log. Now we're going to go through this from left to right, and if you don't remember from the pairs file or the pairs configs video, the top of each column does have tooltips, so if you forget what any of these acronyms on here mean, you can just mouse over it and it'll tell you. So just remember that. In the first column, you have your date. This is the date and time that this particular asset entered your DCA log. This is not the date and time that it was purchased at. It also gives you a little day timer here, or day counter, to tell you how many days ago. So if you forget how long ago this was, there you go. You have a quick reference saying how many days ago this was bought. Or should I say how many days ago it entered your DCA log, sorry. The next column, coin pair. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's your coin pair, and the line right below it shows you the % change in price over the last 24 hours. The third column you have here is your bid price versus average price. Bid price being the top line, average price being the bottom line. Now, the bid price is how much the order book is willing to pay for your coin right now. So this is the top buying offer on the buying order book for this particular market. The bottom line here, your average price. This is going to change as you make successive rebuys. Upon first entry into the DCA log, however, your average price will match the amount you initially paid for the coin. Then when it rebuys that coin the next time, it will actually lower your average price depending on the point at which it bought at, which would be the lower price that it bought at versus the amount. And how ProfitTrailer actually averages this price out is it takes your total cost basis for that asset and divides it by the total amount that you're holding. So the total amount you paid for it divided by the total amount of the coin you're holding equals your average price. Now for your buy strategies column here, this tells you how many or which ones you have active for this particular coin. I'm using currently low BB and RSI on my test mode bot. And it also will tell you in the next column what the buy strategy values currently are based on the current price. The buy strategy trigger column is actually your buy strategy value that you set in the DCA config. And this will give you a nice little visual reference of how close you are in the current price to your buy strategy trigger. This will not buy unless it hits your buy strategy trigger, as well as satisfying your buy strategy trigger value. So there's three things that it's going to be monitoring here. This next column, the buy strategy trigger value, this is the percent drop that the coin must have from the average price before it will allow your buy strategy to trigger. So you have to satisfy both of these before it will actually try and buy. And then it'll factor in your trailing buy. So there's a lot going on right there. Your buy trigger, I believe this is the percent difference from your buy strategy trigger value that your current price is on this coin. So given where it is, how far is it from your buy strategy trigger value? That's what this should give. That's what this should be displaying here. Your sell strategy is going to be your 2 sell strategies that you specify, or however many sell strategies that you specify in your config file. I'm running 2 of them, high BB and gain. And then you also have sell strategy value, which is operating just like your buy strategy value. It's just telling you based on the price what the value of each of these sell strategies is at this particular time. And then next to it, your sell strategy trigger. And it tells you, here's a visual reference of how far from your actual sell value your current price is. Then you have this one that says P%. This is your profit percentage. This is the top line is going to be your current profit percentage overall based on the current value, the current price of the coin versus your average price of the coin. When it's in positive profit, however, you may see another line down below it. If you turn on the order book calculation feature of DCA, it will tell you when you're in positive profit only how much the order book profit percentage will be immediately below your total profit percentage. What that order book profit percentage will tell you is the difference between your absolute profit margin on the coin and how much that the order book would support as far as your possible profit at the current offerings. So at the current top buying offer, it's looking to see is there sufficient volume that they're willing to buy that will satisfy your profit margin here. And it'll tell you if it's lower than your absolute profit value, essentially what it's saying is that the top buying offer is only willing to buy less of this coin than what you're willing to sell. So, or what rather than what you're trying to sell. So it gives you an at-a-glance assessment of your absolute profit versus, or basically where your position is in relation to the buying offers on the market. The volume column, this is the total trading volume of this particular coin over the last 24 hours. Then you have total amount, pretty self-explanatory. It's the amount of the coin you're holding. Second from last column, you have current value and total cost. Current value being the current total value of the holdings of this coin that you currently have. Okay, and then your total cost is how much you actually paid for all of that holding of that coin. So this is actually pretty useful for gauging how far from profit you are or how far from your initial entry to this position the coin pair is. And then your last column, you have the current value in your chosen currency. So whatever currency you set as your display currency for the application.properties file, that'll appear here in the last column. I have mine set to US dollars, so that's what I have showing here. At the bottom here, you have the table showing current total value to current total cost and the difference in between the two. So this will, if you have more than one asset here in your DCA log, this will display a total of the holdings, what they're currently valued at, what you paid for them, and what the difference is, all at a quick little glance here. So now we know how to read our pairs, or actually, your DCA log. Let's go on over here to the config. So up here on the right side of your menu, you have config. You just mouse over that and click on DCA, and that will take you to the configuration. I have mine laid out exactly as it's showing on the wiki with a couple of slight minor differences just for logical flow. But there is a grouping for each set of parameters here. These groupings do follow the wiki, so we're going to be going through them in the future videos in the order that they're in on the wiki. So we have general settings, buy filter settings, buy settings, and sell settings. The general settings are synonymous with global settings. You could call them that. These are the settings that affect the entirety of your DCA all the time. So you have your max cost, max buy times, keep balance percentage. We'll go into that in the next video, the details of each one. But just know that these will affect everything in DCA at all times, unless you make it coin pair specific, like these ones that say default can now do. So in the prior version of ProfitTrailer, you were not able to make anything in your DCA log coin pair specific, or I don't think there was anything, and there might have been one or two, but very few. But now you have multiple items in here that you can actually specify, like you can in your pairs file, as coin pair specific. So that's a nice new feature. You can also now control the amount that the DCA function rebuys on each successive rebuy. That's also a really nice feature. It's right here in your buy settings. I'll detail that also in a video for this grouping. And also in your sell settings, there's another nice new feature. There is a way to set multiple sell values based on the DCA level that a particular asset might be at. So these will also be detailed in the sell video, but just a nice little new feature there to mention. And there are also some additional features that are also in the pairs config, like the take profit wait time, take profit percentage. Max profit is also an option in here. And you also have your order book profit calculation. You can turn it on or off. So yeah, there are some nice new features here for DCA for version 2. As I mentioned before, each one of these groupings I'm going to be going into their own videos in detail. So I'm not going to cover those here. Just wanted to give you a brief overview of how I'm going to set up the next videos for the DCA details. So that's all I have for the introduction to dollar cost averaging for ProfitTrailer. If you like what you see on this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Please consider subscribing and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get alerts on when we post videos and new content, please go ahead and hit the bell icon that's right next to the subscribe button. As always, stay safe, happy trading, and I will see you on the next video, which will be all about the DCA general settings. If you need any help with your ProfitTrailer client, please consult the wiki at wiki.profittrailer.com, and if you still have more questions, don't hesitate to join us over on the Discord support server following the link on your screen.